to the channel. Today I just wanted to make a video about a couple of things that we saw today regarding the SPY, the QQQ, Bitcoin, Magnificent 7, the dollar. So we'll touch on a couple of things. So let's start off with the SPY. So as you can see, this was I was thinking this would be a valid head and shoulders pattern. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and the price was on Friday. Friday's close was below the 200-day moving average, and today was a sudden gap up. One thing I want to show you guys is if I add the Bollinger Bands over here, and you can see that when the price touched over here, the Bollinger Band, it bounced over here. It bounced pretty hard. So pretty significant bounce over there. It's a bounce of 21%, which is a big bounce. And if you look at the RSI readings, the RSI currently is sitting at 65. If you look at the stochastics, they're pretty overbought. Bollinger Bands, they're overbought. Tomorrow is a CPI reading. I would at least want, since we hadn't had any significant drawdown, the last drawdown we had was over here on 14th of April. So it's been almost a month for being basically mooning. So this was a 6.5% drop. I would at least expect it to retest the 200-day moving average, which would be a 1.6% drop from here. And if we can rebound from there, then that would be incredibly bullish. And this basically where this bear market or consolidation pattern would be over. So I would at least, I also set some price targets over here. So add an alert over here on the 200-day moving average. The same thing goes for the QQQ. They just busted out of this right shoulder, so this appears to be an invalid pattern as of now. And again, we had some major gap up. So this candlestick, is more of a hanging man pattern. A hanging man candlestick. You guys can Google that. What a hanging man candlestick is. Tomorrow's a CPI day, so again, same thing goes over here. Stochastics are overbought out of the Bollinger Bands, and basically things are very overbought. I would at least want it to retest the 200-day moving average, which is around 492. You can see also added in a letter over here. Other shorter term, if we're able to touch the 200-day moving average, then there's also one other support line that I would take into consideration, which is this line over here, so 42 region. So somewhere around the 491 or 42 region. So it's always usually plus minus a couple of percent. But if it doesn't bounce off of the 200-day moving average over here, then I would at least expect it to consolidate or come down to touch this line of resistance over here. So my first target is 491. The second would be 480. If it actually comes down, so by the looks of it, it just wants to go up. But tomorrow's a pretty significant day. CPI. Let's see what we have over here tomorrow. So tomorrow's CPI. This week we have the CPI, and then Fed Waller talks. We have the FOMC member. Dali speaks. We have continuing jobless claims over here. PPI. So yeah, a lot of macro data being released this week. So it's going to be a volatile week, but we'll just have to see how things go from there. So going to, let's see. Let's start off with Bitcoin, and then I'll go to the Magnificent 7. So Bitcoin, it went all the way down to 100,790 and bounced off. As I said in my previous video, and if you guys are not following me on X, do go ahead and follow me on X. I usually post a lot of charts over there. So a lot of charts and usually make YouTube videos in the evening time. So in my previous videos, one of my previous video, I said that this is going to be pretty significant resistance, and we're not going to be actually breaking above this anytime soon. So all of this is a resistance level, and it's perfectly natural to go up and then we come back down because it's resistance. I would really like Bitcoin to go down here around the $97,000 region. That would also coincide where the 20 day moving average is. So that's roughly around a 4.5% drop. So the entire drop from this local peak would be around 7.5%. So I would really like that if you can get there. I'm a huge buyer over here. I also had an alert over here, as you can see. So alert over here. I would definitely nibble over here if the price comes back down over here. So there's Bitcoin. One other thing that I'm noticing on Bitcoin is also in one of my last videos I told you guys that if we're going up for straight 4 or 5 weeks, and we're gonna see some consolidation or actually back test. So $97 to $93 region is where I'm expecting a back test. So let me get my indicator arrow. So something like this would be bullish, and then we continue upwards. So this, or we can have this, and then from here we can move up. So both regions, $97,000 region, for this bull market to last. If we're in a bull market, then I would at least want it to have a healthy pullback and then move upwards. So as you can see over here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 green weekly candles, then consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then red, then 1, 2, then macro consolidation. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then some consolidation. Usually, I don't think we're going up 8 straight weeks because this area has a lot of investor memory. So, yeah, I don't think this is gonna break easily. I would expect a cool down period, and then we can actually start mooning again, basically. So that's pretty much it on Bitcoin. Yes, one more thing I wanted to show on Bitcoin was, where is it? So if we look at this monthly over here, you can see that we're actually producing a bearish divergence. So you can see higher high, and the RSI was basically went nowhere. So it basically went nowhere. So that is concerning. I don't like, this is the data. I would believe that we don't have much juice left in this bull market, especially if we don't break the area of $103,000 to $108,000 region. So this is something to keep in mind. And if it does break above, then the 86 region would also act as significant resistance, since that's where it always got rejected in the previous bull markets. So for now, we're definitely bull market. We're just inches away from all-time highs. But I would definitely like a healthy pullback. It's healthy for the bull market. And like as the looks of it, we're actually getting a pullback. But again, tomorrow's CPI day. Who knows what's going to happen? So something to keep in mind on. I'm definitely looking at the $97,000 region. I think there was a bearish divergence that I wanted to show you guys on the QQQs. Yes, so there's also this bearish divergence going on over here. So you can see that we had high, and basically this was a bearish divergence which triggered this downfall over here. So just showing you guys what a bearish divergence actually looks like. So you can see that we had a higher high over here versus a lower low over here, and then the price falls. I mean, you guys can go back and see for yourself. These these bearish bullish divergences actually do play out pretty significantly. So that's something to proceed with caution. Next up, I want to talk about Tesla. Tesla, on the macro picture, you can see that it's been in a regression channel. So support, resistance, and then support. It's currently on the 20-day moving average. So again, for Tesla, I have an alert over here around the $300 region, where I would definitely buy some. I would expect it to come back down to the $300 region before it starts going up. This would be a massive buying opportunity in my opinion, because right now it broke out of resistance, retest support, which was previous resistance, and now start moving again. So that's one of my favorite technical setups, bullish and bearish divergences, and breakout, retest, rebound setups. Also, you can see that the price action was trading above the Bollinger Bands, where it started to fade towards the end of the day or the midday. So I would expect it to at least have a short pullback. Nothing crazy. It's just 4%. Seems like it's been ages since we had a pullback, but everybody gets accustomed to going up, and then we see a 2% drop, and everybody panics. The same thing, like history repeats. I'm just giving you guys a warning or caution to keep an eye on this area. Let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, again, it hit the top of the Bollinger Band, and there's overhead resistance of the 200-day moving average. There's also an overhead resistance of the 50-day. Yes, 50-day moving average over here. So, but it's been going up for 1, 2, 3, 4 straight weeks. I would expect I would expect the 50-day moving average over here, or the 200-day moving average over here, act as resistance. So you're seeing the theme over here, right? So many of these stocks are hitting their Bollinger Bands, which is not a great thing. Look at Microsoft. Everything is overbought. RSI, stochastics, Bollinger Bands, the price action, it's been gapping up basically. If you look at Amazon, look where Amazon is trading. It's trading outside the Bollinger Band. So it's trading outside this Bollinger Band on the daily chart. These things are not good. These things usually indicate that we're going to have a pullback at some point, which I am expecting. Apple, barely above the 50-day moving average. Meta, above the Bollinger Bands over here. So everything is overbought. I would not touch anything over here unless I see some clarity. And the only clarity that I see is a pullback. I've been wanting a pullback for a while now. It hasn't happened yet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. I mean, if you look in terms of risk and reward ratio, the risk to reward ratio is not looking very good right now. Everything is extremely overbought. All the Magnificent Sevens, the ETFs, Bitcoin, everything is overbought right now. We hadn't had a pullback since the lows. Once we get a pullback, I'm bull team again. But until then, I'm expecting a pullback. If you saw one of my recent tweets regarding Ethereum, let me see. Ethereum. Ethereum over here. So you guys can see that I posted that the 200 weekly moving average would act as resistance. The daily, it's out of the Bollinger Band. It came back in, and it didn't touch, but it was close to it. Again, over here, it broke above, but now it should act as resistance. We don't want this thing to go like this, because that would be bubble breakout, a breakdown basically. So breakdown, retest previous support as resistance, and then moving down. But we don't want that. We want the opposite. We want it to break above, maybe consolidate sometime, because the 200-day or the weekly perhaps is very strong support and resistance, and then try to move up. But there's that. let's see about the total. The total crypto market, if you exclude Bitcoin, then things aren't looking good. It broke above the 220. It broke above the 20-day moving average, weekly moving average, and you can see that there was also a bearish divergence over there. So that's, I mean, I can also see this in the channel, but what I want this to happen is it got rejected off this, or consolidating around the 200-day moving average. What I want is for the altcoins to actually start going up relative to Bitcoin. If you can see the BTCD, it broke down below the 50-day moving average, and it's sitting at Bollinger Bands over here. Basically, I don't think alts are gonna start mooning soon. I think Bitcoin is the only one, especially at, like, it's testing this area's previous resistance as support right now, perfectly to the T, and I would expect it to start going up again. I don't think that we're gonna have an alt season anytime soon unless we see a breach below these this support level. So if we can see a breakdown over here, then I would expect an alt season. But until then, this is valid support. In fact, this is pretty healthy. That's been a resistance level for multiple days, and then went up and came back down and tested support. So I don't think we're actually, especially as we can see that the total 2 is sitting on resistance, while Bitcoin dominance is sitting on support. I think that Bitcoin is still going to go up relative to all the alts. If we exclude Ethereum and Bitcoin, then the total market cap, you can see that it didn't actually do anything significantly like equities and Bitcoin has been mooning. But I mean, it's good that it broke above the 20-day weekly average and above the 200-day moving average. But the main thing over here is we need to see a breakdown below this level over here to at least start assuming that we're gonna have an alt season. But until then, I don't think we're gonna have. Let's look at MicroStrategy. Yeah, it's basically been going up since the lows and sub 81%. Again, sitting on resistance range over here. So let me. So I mean, this area over here is resistance over here. It's perfectly fine to get rejected off in the first try. I would expect a touch down to the 20-day moving average at least, so that's roughly an 8-10%. And also, it's extremely overbought. It's touching the upper Bollinger Band. All the RSI stochastic readings are overbought on the daily. So also, especially on the weekly, it's been going up since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks continuously. We need a cool down. You can see the theme of this, right? You can see the theme of this video. Everything is extremely overbought. The stochastics, the RSI, all the indicators, it's out of the Bollinger Bands. Price action, silver is gapping up. This is a sign of extreme greed, and we're due for a pullback. If you look at Mara, nothing to do over here, nothing to see over here. It's below the 200-day moving average. This was a beautiful chart at one point. Let me just get this off. This was a beautiful chart at one point. It was a regression channel, then it broke down around 17 and went all the way to 10 or 9. And the 200-day moving average is sloping downward. So this is not a good sign. We should at least see a break above to start charting this. Until then, stay away from this. It's a turd until proven otherwise. Clean Spark, same deal, below the 200-day moving average and sloping downwards. So that's not a good sign. Stay away from these. They're very unpredictable. It was a beautiful chart at one point, but now Bitcoin hasn't gone up as we all expected during the cycles. That's one of the reasons that we're seeing a breakdown across the board. And also, if you have MicroStrategy and Coin, you have all the other options. Why would you want to risk your money in these? So I'll change my mind once price action leads the way, but I don't think that's going to happen. Or when it does, I'll gladly admit. And I'm a chartist, I'm an analyst. So if the price action starts moving towards it starts favoring the bulls, then I'll definitely side with that. But until then, I don't see anything. It's below the 200-day moving average, while everything is above the the ETFs, Bitcoin related stocks, Bitcoin itself. They're all above the 200-day moving average, but these are not. Let's look at Hood. Hood, I really like the stock, but again, same theme. Above the Bollinger Band, going up for 2 weeks and a couple of days. You can see at an alert over here at the $51 region. So I would expect at least a pullback to around this area over here. So this area over here, $51 region, just to test the previous resistance as support. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Test it as breakout, test it as support, and then start mooning again to new all-time highs. So that would be a great setup. So Hood, these are the stocks that I have on a watch list. But Palantir, let's look at Palantir. Palantir, I see a big cup and handle pattern. So let me get rid of this. I see a massive, it was double bottom. Let me get rid of this. Let me draw an arc over here. Yeah, you can see that this was a pretty significant, almost double bottom. And it's an arc, basically. It got rejected off all-time highs. Tested the 20-day moving average as support and starts going up again. This would go up if the equities can go up, like the ETFs, like QQQ. Like as I said, pretty significant macro week. If we can follow through, I would only trade this if we can break above new all-time highs, because we don't want a double top. Right now, it just printed a double top. Break above this, you can see that previous all-time high acted as resistance. What I would want for this to play out is something like this. So we breach above, go above, test it as support, and then start going up again. So this would be a very encouraging bullish setup, but I wouldn't touch this until I see a break above all-time high. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to go over. Again, follow me on X. This is where I post most of the real-time updates. So if you guys are interested, give a follow over there. Subscribe to my channel, and if you have any requests or chart requests, let me know and I'll go over it. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.